what we do when we land in a company is understand where they are. We first do a diagnosis. Okay, what are we experiencing as a company? And what are the possible pain points? Usually it's a misalignment, certain behaviors that are creating tension, but there's usually something that is failing before that. So what we do first is diagnose what is happening. And in that diagnostic, we see, is there a clear vision? Are there clear values in the company? Is there a clear purpose? So if they do have them, great, we've got something to work on. Now, the second point is understanding, is that vision, are those values and that purpose authentic? So as the company acting aligned to those parameters that they have defined. It's usually not happening. Usually companies are not authentic to those frameworks that are created. This might be because it haven't been explained properly. They might be because they haven't been transmitted properly, or they might be just because those values are not being honored. So that's the second point. We analyze what is happening. What are those three, or the three of them are happening? And we work on creating a clear explanation of that vision, those values, and that purpose, explaining it properly, then being authentic to it. And this is a top-down and bottom-up experience, and that's the way we usually work. We work on the leaders transmitting it downwards, and then the team requiring it upwards. How do we do that? We train the whole company in those vision, values, and purpose. Now, they are difficult to understand. And what we do, and the second step we do, is once they are clear, once it's authentic, and once we can work with those, we create the behaviors. What are behaviors? Behaviors means translating vision, values into actionable experiences and ways of doing and being inside this company. For example, if we have a vision or a value that is people first, we have to define, how do we behave when we make people first? Does people first mean we don't fire anyone? Does people first mean we invest in our people and we make them grow? What does people first mean? Once we have those behaviors, what we can start doing is training the whole company in those behaviors. So we do leadership development in the whole company. So the whole company is speaking one unique language. We know what we mean with people first. We know what we mean with any kind of values we are experiencing and what are those behaviors. We train everybody to grow as leaders and to require those behaviors from their leadership. And we have a very clear example of a company we work with. It's a multinational company, and they had businesses all over the world. So there was a problem of adapting that vision and that direction of the company to different cultures and different ways of being and different climates around the world. So what we did was working with the management to define clearly and align on those values. They hadn't designed and aligned those values. They had them in them, but they hadn't manifested them. So we started working on defining and clarifying those values. Then we converted those values into the behaviors that we expected our people to have. And then we trained the whole company on those behaviors. And this meant going all over the world, training people in the country to understand and behave through experiential learning, through challenges we would give them that would reflect those unwanted behaviors, so they could be conscious of those unwanted behaviors, and then we could train them on the expected behaviors. This meant that a person working on one area of the world could be speaking the same language of another person speaking in another part of the world, and they knew what they meant when they used the words. The words had the same meaning. So that was super important. And a big thing we did was training the whole company in this way of behaving. And then we trained the company to train the newcomers. So we didn't have to go all the time. We trained the company to train the newcomers. So that culture, that unified way of talking, was understood by everyone. And this is why culture is so important. That's why creating a company culture is essential, because it's getting all those behaviors together to defining who we are, how we act, and the ways of doing. And so that everybody can understand wherever they are, how we operate with each other.